Hello everybody, my name is Alex Pascenko. I'm a freelance illustrator and concept artist since 4 years. And in this video I'm gonna show you my drawing and painting techniques, my process, my approach, how I find solutions for my concepts, how I tackle my ideas, about my thinking process, and all the knowledge that is behind these characters. First, I start with a basic sketch, white blues, just focusing on the proportions, and I try to keep all my characters grounded. It's really important to give them a sense that they look believably standing on the ground, even if the concept is stylized a bit or more. It's still important to focus on the anatomy knowledge and all the basic rules you learn by observing from light drawings. The characters in this video are the first one, female hero, and the male hero. They live in their own universe, so all the characters kind of have to fit together. It's not gonna be realistic, like I said, a little bit stylized. And on all of these characters, at least in that video, I didn't use any reference. It's just starting from imagination, from scratch to finish. Usually when I work for clients and I have a tight briefing and they want something realistically, gather references, look at certain poses, do my research, try not to go too much overboard, and try to give all the accessoires, all the closing sense that it fits together. Right now I'm focusing to have some big shapes first, primary shapes, to break up the body silhouette. And I arrange all these shapes while thinking about this golden ratio or rule of thirds, so it looks visually more appealing. And it's always easy to start simple, just basic proportions, and then basic major shapes, and then secondary shapes, and then the details. And while doing all these steps, try to render a little bit back and forth, because the rendering, if it's already established, even if it's grayscale, you can always add colors later, and then you don't have to spend time rendering it again. Well, I gotta warn you, my English is not the best, but I try to make it as simple and as clear as possible. Actually, it's pretty hard, especially on this case, because I had lots of freedom, which is on one part a good thing. You can do whatever you want, but on the other hand, you can you really got to find something that you want to go for. I mean, there are thousands of opportunities, thousands of variations. So I really had to focus on something that looks cool, at least to me. I really spend lots of time on the sketch. The proportions are really important. I try to spend lots of time on the sketch because if later on I start rendering and the colors are established and I realize, oh my god, this is the proportions are wrong, or the character is not standing realistically in space. I might erase lots of things again, so whether I plan things ahead in the beginning in grayscale, where I can still change things, and that's what I do. Changing things back and forth till I find solutions with which I'm satisfied. I like the giant shoulder pad. It has a similar edges like the boots. They pretty much break up the body shape, and also the cloak. She wouldn't have those things, just a normal female standing. That would be, of course, pretty boring, but even that could be a challenge. Usually on character design, concept sketches, I don't focus too much, or don't draw rapid. And because I just focus on the character, and some weapons are just like the character himself sometimes, or they're pretty complicated if you look at ripples. On the upper left corner I place some values. When I start with the grayscale sketch, I try not to use real white or real black. It adds to the final contrast, the whole value range if you use real black. Just some really special points or areas, not too much, and really just a little bit highlights in the end if needed. Then it really pops out. But I keep that for later. Cast shadow from the shoulder pads indicated on the arm makes it look more 3D. I'm also trying that the knee pads have some similar forms like the boots and the shoulder pad, so it matches, fits together better. If you don't know what the golden ratio is, just look it up on Wikipedia. read it over, study it a little bit, dream a day or 2 nights about it, and then forget about it. But the next time you look at photos from caterpillars or bugs or whatever is out there, or any animals, you know that rule, you start to realize that lots of things are really built up on that, especially in nature. So, and a good design created by a human is artificial, but if you use that rule, it starts to get more life. It looks more interesting. You really need to have lots of patience when you draw and when the illustrations or character designs. Especially it's hard in the beginning, you just have a few strokes and you think, oh my god, this looks like crap. But because of the patience, because you push through it step by step, adding stuff, thinking about it, spending time, it gets better. And especially for professional concept artists, don't be afraid to use references. I didn't do this on this video, but for professional job, if you have a character and you're rendering metal and you don't know how to do it, search the internet for it, search some JPEGs, there's so much out there. People with metal or different materials, leather, whatever you need. And you find them in the right environment with the right light sources. And if you can get inspired by it and just try to apply what you see in the reference to your character. It's not cheating. I really lost some years of getting better because I had the stupid mentality. Well, because I didn't knew when I looked up to my idols, I thought they do everything from imagination, and they can't. But the trick behind this, if you start to get in the professional field, you have to deliver quality artwork, and you have to use reference. Now the deal is what came out of using reference lots of time is that you started to understand it, and the drawing and painting skills from imagination, of course, also get better by doing so. So it just feels natural. And all the old masters painted models, from models, used reference. Did lots of research for one illustration, did lots of sketches, compositions. If you do an illustration, draw a little bit from imagination, do a good composition, know how certain shapes and elements in the picture are arranged already, then you can search the internet or photograph yourself or your girlfriend, whatever, your friends, and make a good quality painting out of it. Yeah, with time this is looking better, you see. I of course fast forwarded the video I spent for each character between 6 and 8 hours, Not sure. At least one day. Usually I spend a little longer for finished characters. But for a concept sketch, that's pretty okay. Although, if I would do hero characters or whatever, I might do a little more black and white sketches and drawings with some good readable details, at least good readable design, and then pick one or just mash things together digitally and then start rendering. And concept art, good concept art is constantly back and forth with you and the art directors. So you find the solution you're all happy with, and then you start rendering, finalizing stuff, which can take a few days, even 1 week. It doesn't matter, as long as it looks good in the end. I'm adding a rim light from the right side, and the main light source is from top left. As her body, so I keep that in mind while I render. Ring the face, trying to find some trying to remember the right places where the shadows cast, like right now on the cheekbone, cast from the hairs, the voice. But still about shapes and silhouette. This approach this time is it's not quite. I mean, you can also do a sketch and then make a really tight and clean line work, but with this approach I'm just noodling around. I have a little bit of clay and I'm trying to form it to that direction where it looks good. That's how I call it. Shadows from the hand and arm. Looks more 3D now. For sure, one thing, I want to make the hero character look kind of badass. I always like more the anti-heroes, because to me they have more credibility, and they're more good, and they have also challenges asked to go through, and this is how personality goes. They don't care too much about it. Wearing a suit or fine looking image, just the way they are, with all the flaws. Some overlay shadows. And while doing this, you see that the brush strokes or strokes, whatever, are still there, while I put other values on top of the shapes. Now I added some primary armor shapes. Continue sketching out shadows. Sources and this or size way more close to the values. We have three main colors. This time it's going to be pink, blue, and orange towards the top. And dark. This main it's really helpful to start everything in art. We start step by step. Cover the simple sketch, just focus on proportions. Focus if you render something. No, you start with the sketch, focus on proportions, focus on the shapes, and focus on the lighting, and then you focus on the values, and then the colors. That will be the right process. And even if I skip a few things, you know that something that's different. I always do. What I learned in working digitally is no matter what you do, I mean, if you spend enough time with it, then all the references or the research for things you don't know. And if you have lots of patience, it will look good in the end. What I did wrong in the beginning with digital art is that I zoomed in too much, especially in the beginning. It was really hard to get rid of it, but I just realized when I did my studies on paper for traditional, it's just can't zoom in there. But if you spend enough time rendering and going into details in the end, it still looks good. So that's that kind of practice. Too much. I'm still fighting. But at least I know what I'm doing wrong. That's good. I'm expanding the canvas because at this point I realized I wanted to make a cloak a little bit bigger, a little bit more interesting silhouette. The most final products, characters or illustration, I try to you can zoom in and you can render really small areas, but in the end it will be printed on normal book size, nobody's going to see it. So I always try to make sure that it looks good and tight on the European EIN A4 format, and that's enough mostly. Unless the client wants you to draw something super detailed, details, we have lots of time to do that and spend a week on a concept or illustration, and that's okay. But most of the time, make sure it looks good in A4. Now I decided I don't want to have black hairs. Really pink, purple, looks better. Pops out here to the contrast. And I always look into the right corner of the small thumbnail with the grids there, especially regarding the values, just to check. That's helpful to me. We had already the idea that the shoulder pads going under fiber. But I just indicated it, let it be for now, because I didn't want to. I had no idea how it should look like. At least I had the idea there was something on it. So I'm trying to figure out and just look over the next points. It has to be done and fleshed. And hoping that I find the ideas later. I work like this. And try not to get into stupid. Just having fun is really important. Always when I draw something and it's not fun, it is at that moment I realize I'm doing something wrong. Right? That I reached dead ends. I don't know how to go on. So then it's called back to basics, check basic knowledge, and search for reference. Or just trying to be too about it and leaving up. I really like to play around with the shapes of the hair. It's not realistic, but silhouettes look interesting at least. It's lots of fun. Trying to arrange the shapes that as a whole the haircut has a nice composition in itself. Adding more value again. Always try to adjust it step by step. I know where the final is. Most interesting points. Most interesting. All the focal points is where there's the most kind of dark, brightest light in the frame in the picture. There's the most interest. Openness, if you look at women with makeup, with the dark on the eyelids, the mascara, it's just to create more contrast, to have more chances to get your attention in the part. You just have to stare at it. Touch your eyes, touch your mood. Same as with design, it's the same rule. You're the magician. You can wizard around. Sometimes I just make a selection and arrange some shapes, even if I already rendered them, just to make them more fitting thanks to Photoshop, that's possible. I look at the hair, it's going in a certain direction. If I just look at the shape, it looks like what you see off the first screen. It's quite catchy. This is playing around. Yes. And I render things in the shadows, quite aware there's not much light going on, so it's really just a private paint slide. But most things happening, most value play, and the light going very different. The grip of the sword, finger of the sword, it's casting the shadow on the blade. Maybe a little bit, but it's important to get it. Rendering is a thing on its own. You have to realize it, and local values are a thing on their own. If you study them, you should try to focus just on one thing. If you study whatever you want to copy to learn, then first of all, make up the notation you want to learn. If you produce a motion, you focus on the gesture and make as less strokes as possible or have the most try to get the most out of it with just a few strokes to capture the movements. That's it, don't focus on light, don't focus on random, that's the first thing. And decide what you want to learn, and if you have that, then there's still more time, then you can go the local values. And all out, then start learning. Let's put in a little bit of major shapes in here, or just use the colors out there and just flesh it out, tighten it up. I'm selecting the leg. The because I felt it was a little bit too long in perspective. I pushed it a little bit back. Look cool, kind of stylized, you can exaggerate, but I wasn't too happy with that. I'm gonna do that with the arm. Push it a little bit back, it's more, felt too long. Erase the leftovers, and there you go. Looks better, at least to me now. Most of the time when I wake up, before I check my emails, I wake up early in the morning and I do a few studies just to get into it, just catch something for myself. Also sometimes some abstract stuff, not posting online, doing abstract things or just personal stuff. So it helps me to loosen up, and I try to put that feeling into creativity as well. Because the problem is trying to make things perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. You gotta have fun with the process. You gotta have fun while doing it. If I finish any kind of artwork, the next day I can't even look at it. I'm bored. But when I look at it, I remember myself of the fun times I enjoyed doing it. That's the most fun part. And if you don't enjoy something, what you do, then you do something wrong. Try to look for another way, or maybe you just get stuck and try to look up some reference. I have lots of reference folders of everything. Standing, female, male characters on ground with different lightings, lots of different costumes. If I don't find anything in my folders and I need some, then I just shoot some of myself or my friend's girlfriend, whatever. Yeah, it helps out. And I have folders of medieval armor, modern armor, weapons, and also books to help get me inspired. This kind of stuff, that kind of anime, sci-fi, whatever genre that is. I'm just having fun, I'm doing what I like. But when I have a tight briefing from a client and he knows what he wants, more or less, just can't draw it. Sometimes it's pretty tight, some clients know exactly what they want, so you have to, you can't be happy if you really hit what he's looking for. Some clients also have briefings but give you some freedom, but still, then for professional work, they just open up Google, search for the right references. I tried some saturated blue. It was too much. Sometimes I just open a new layer, put some warmer or colder light on it, and then I drop the opacity up and down and see what works. I often have the habit of overdoing things. Sometimes, the best is to stay subtle. Adding more details to the cloak looks more interesting, because right now we're at the detail stage anyway. We don't have to worry about the major shapes, we don't have to worry about the pose anymore. I did some corrections with the leg and the hand. Also know that I'm not happy with the face, but I'm gonna do that later. But right now, at this kind of stage, I'm enjoying tightening things up, adding details, rendering. It's coming together slowly. Putting a shadow on the ground helps to give the impression that it's the character standing somewhere, but I don't want to overdo it with the values, because the main contrast gotta be the character, the face. Yeah, it really looks like a squid. Like a squid trying to catch something. Really playful. I'll try that idea. Well, that puts away our attention. Attention should be in the chest area, at the face. It's also contrast. You see the material, the cloak, the hair. It's really soft material. It gets easily affected when the wind blows. So there is a little bit of wind behind her. It gives a little bit motion even if she's standing, while the hard parts like the armor is just kind of stiff. But there you have a nice contrast. It makes it more interesting. Let's quite detailed here. Let me show you the pad. I wonder if you see all these details on the shoulder pad, if I would just continue if I just post an A4 size picture of it. I don't think so. If you just have one day, not too much time to finish properly drawing, a good advice is just focus on the focal point, find out where it is and render the focal point as tight as possible, and then try to the other shapes to get lost in the background, to softer brush strokes fade away. So you get lots of sharp edges in the focal, lots of contrast anyway, and all the other stuff just fades away. But on the first side it looks good, then if you do it right it looks stylized, and behind that someone might think, okay, you have not enough time to render it all. But at least it's something I would then post or show you or deliver. Added another belt. Something gotta keep that armor thing on the body. So it's good. I'll put some auto contrast in there, auto tone correction, add this on a new layer and put down the opacity because I think the computer generated too much of contrast, so I'll lower it down a little bit, but I have something at least. Yes, I'm keeping that. Now it really pops out. I would suggest you not to do this too much in the beginning, where the values aren't established, but after you started to put in the highlights and the darks already, then you can play around with auto contrast. Now the core shadow really makes, core shadow on the hair makes it look more 3D at least. It was just one single brush stroke but a good decision. A little bit more contrast in the hair, the face, taking my time. Face is gonna be the most important thing here, since I have just one day to finish it. Here a little bit core shadow. Now, since we are the core shadow, we are the arm of the core shadow going up. That's what I was thinking about. What I'm thinking now is, okay, back to design. Wasn't happy with that part. Okay. Why not? Play around with the proportions again, even if it's minor changes. You know, it's my standards, I gotta keep them. I gotta be happy with the anything. And the edges, soft edges, hard edges. Hard edges are most of the time where the light hits the silhouette. In the shadow, they are often more soft. Like on the feet, you see the cast shadow on the ground. First, it's pretty sharp, and if it fades into the background, it gets softer on the edge. Adding a little bit more contrast on the shadow. Of course, not too much. Oh, nice blue light. Nice blue light. And sometimes I turn the canvas because I don't like selection tools. The whole sword I painted without selection tools, without ruler. That's just also how I draw on paper. And if you look at nature, there's no straight line out in nature. Not one. Everything is organic. Even the horizon bends. So that's my philosophy about art. I don't use rulers. But to make a clean and straight brush stroke, sometimes it's easier for me to flip the canvas. That's the reason. Set the rendering on the face. Oh, what's this? Multiply layer, 12 brush. Yes, I'm trying to add some atmosphere in here. Try to make it subtle. I can go over things. I duplicated the layer. So if I went too much into the character shapes and silhouettes, I can erase it out. But clouds on the background, maybe there. Oh, nice. Putting some color, some value of the background behind the cloak. Now the cloak looks like it's really behind the character, a little bit farther away. I have 200 brushes at least. 10-20 brushes with which ones I render. There are lots of cloud brushes, some for extra effects, some just for chains, but they help a lot if I'm in need. But I try to paint the most stuff with just a normal rendering brush. Now, I said I never was happy with the face. I made a selection. I thought it looked too flat. So we have to arrange it a little bit. Perspective. Yeah, she's looking from below up at us. Okay, got a problem, dude? Talking to me? Huh? And it's better. Just have to clean it up again, but it's worth the time. Highlight on the nose, on the eyes. There you go. That's it. A little bit of a highlight made me happy. Good, I saved the highlights for the end, where all the important values, colors are established. Sometimes when I zoom out, it looks not that good in small size, so it's better actually to get it down in a smaller size. But I wanted to have fun, take my time with the face. You can also, for that light spot behind here, for that effect, use the gradient tools in Photoshop and paint them, just let them be. But I like to do as much as possible hand drawn, because I feel it has no life. It's just like brush strokes from the good old masters. The real masterful paintings, in my opinion, are done by those artists who can create efficient paintings saying lots of things with as less strokes as possible. It looks painted. I mean, I don't want to look at a photograph. A painting for me shouldn't look like a photograph. It should have some style. Tell something about the artist's personality. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm just tighten up everything. I want to come to finish here and call it a day, but tightening process also takes a little bit of time, but it's worth it. Now, the cleaner your concept is, the more professional it looks like. But this is not meant to be a final product, but I didn't want to do just a simple sketch either. Something in between. A little bit smudge too also helps sometimes. That tribal, some wings, whatever. Oh, that was too much. Now smudging the hair tightens things up. If you have some particles or dirt somewhere at the canvas, you can also smudge them away. Like I really have fun. Especially the transitions of the shadow. Smudge tool can be effective, or a round, soft brush. Or you can blur it. Whatever you do, all you got to know is that there are sharp and soft edges. Now we're really getting close to finish here. So, still tightening things up. When things pop out or things fade away into the background. Maybe some bounce noise and textures. But in general it looks good. Some minor tweaks. Yeah, those bubbles. I could run them more efficiently, but like I said, don't have enough time, just focus. Rendering on the focal point. Tried some things, figured out they don't look good, let them be. Use the version from before. Okay, now here showing the dynamics of the cape. Also, like with the squid, it's floating out. The dynamics of the body. See the curved strokes, like a triangle. Triangle's good. That's already established here. And like the sword, not standing a little closer, smaller. Yeah, okay. As long as I'm happy, I'm not sure. Okay. Let it be. Okay. So just again showing the dynamics of the pose. See the triangle. This is the primary shapes in blue. Hill, the boots, that rip off the sword. Yeah. Helps me to make it purposely. Now again a little bit final rendering. That's the last parts. Yeah, looks like a female character. They can kick some ass in the universe I'm going for to put them in. Now in the next parts we're gonna do the main hero. Alright, here. I thought maybe that's some things to do my hair. Some knives, some daggers she can pull out and throw at her enemies. It was a nice idea, but it didn't look good in the shape. And the general shape looks too geisha-like. I don't want to overdo the Japanese inspiration. But maybe one. I'll just keep the knots back there. Keeps the rest of the hair so knows what version she's wearing. So like a spring. Yeah, that looks like a scissor in the new haircut. But you know, it's not wrong to try things out, sketch things in pretty quickly. However, you sure with your decisions. That's it. Good final of the female. And later on, try to come up with a name for her. Thanks for watching for the first character. I hope I'm getting warm, getting into it, and describe a little bit more on the next one.